Hello, my friend. Welcome. I'm Aimee Esther, and I have multiple chronic illnesses. And today we're going to look a little bit into Selena Gomez, who has been diagnosed with lupus, and see what she has to teach us today. So first of all, just so you're aware what lupus is, I personally don't have lupus. I have multiple chronic illnesses. I have different chronic illnesses. I have been tested for lupus multiple times because I have similar symptoms, but I honestly didn't fully know what it was. So according to Google, it says that lupus is an inflammatory disease caused when the immune system attacks its own tissues. And lupus can affect the joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, brain, heart, and lungs. Symptoms would be in the muscles, sharp pain in the chest, occurring while breathing, anemia, fatigue, fever, hair loss, red rashes, dryness or ulcers, anxiety, blood and urine, clinical depression, face rash, headache, joint sensitivity, sensitivity to light, swelling, water retention, and weight loss. Wow, I really do have a lot of those symptoms. Wow, yeah, no wonder I've been tested for that so many times. Okay, so Selena Gomez has lupus, and she actually had to have a kidney transplant. So we're going to watch a little bit about her, Selena Gomez, who had the kidney transplant, and her donor.
This past summer, Selena Gomez was gravely ill, weeks away from dialysis and in desperate need of a new kidney. She returned to the home she was sharing with her close friend, Francia Raisa.
One day she came home and she was emotional. I hadn't asked anything. I knew that she hadn't been feeling well. She couldn't open a water bottle one day. She chucked it and just started crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" And that's...
So before we keep going, I'm going to stop already and just say that I know I mentioned this a lot, like we talk about it in every video, but there's an emotional aspect to chronic illness that a lot of people don't look at. They don't see it, especially if they're not living chronically ill or they're not living with someone who lives chronically ill. Because I truly think the emotional side of chronic illness is harder to deal with than the physical. It really is, because there's just so much unknown in the future. There's so much frustration in your body not working like you want it to. There's so much frustration in doing everything, quote, right, and not seeing results and not seeing things get better and spending so much money and time focused on something and not seeing improvement. All that to say is that there's this emotional side to chronic illness that a lot of people don't see.
And she told me, and she goes, "I don't know what to do. The list is 7 to 10 years long." And it just vomited out of me. I was like, of course I'll get tested.
We've talked on my channel and on the podcast about what to do when people don't understand, when people aren't there for you, when people don't show up. And I do have lots of tips and tricks for you if you don't have people who are there for you. But I gotta say, it's so nice when people are. It's so nice when my husband notices me struggling and he does the dishes for me. It is so wonderful to see people who are kind and loving. And even if they have no idea what you're going through and they don't understand it and they never will, but to just be there. To say, what can I do in this situation? And I think that's what people want, is we're given this God-given gift to want to help others. We have this ingrained in us to want to help other people, but a lot of times we don't know what to do. And so her friend getting tested to see if it's possible that she is a donor, and it not even being a question to her. She's just like, "No, I'm doing this. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to do it." Your friend sees something they can do. And I notice that in my husband. When he sees something he can do, he'll do it. If I'm having a rough day, he's like, "I will go get you your favorite food. I don't care where it is. I don't care if we're over budget for the month. I will go get it for you because I can see that you're struggling, and that's what came to my mind as something I can do for you." Or I will do the dishes for you. Even if I have no idea how to deal with the emotions you're having right now of your chronic illness, he just wants to do something. And when someone sees something so clearly that they can do for you, they're going to want to do it. And we need to allow them to do that because, like I said, they have a need to serve you. They have a need to help you as well. But I do think that when we allow people to help us, it in turn helps them. It makes them feel better because they're able to take some action instead of just having to sit and watch you suffer.
You insisted.
Yeah.
I called her assistant and I said, give me the information. I want to do this.
How are you feeling in that moment?
She lived with me in this interesting time where my kidneys were just done. That was it. And I didn't want to ask a single person in my life. The thought of asking somebody to do that was really difficult for me. She volunteered and did it, and let alone somebody wanting to volunteer, it is incredibly difficult to find a match.
Asking someone to do something for you is so hard. And, you know, we talked about other people having this desire and this need to help us. And when they see something that they can do, they want to do it. But then it's so, so hard to ask for help. And I just want so, so badly to just be able to do it myself. I can't. And I just need to swallow my pride and let people help me. Now, I'm not looking for a kidney transplant, so obviously that's a very different situation, but I think we all deal with this in different ways of being terrified to ask for help, not only because we don't want to put someone out, but because we want to be able to do it ourselves. We don't want to have someone else do it for us. We want the satisfaction of doing the thing on our own.
Let alone somebody wanting to volunteer, it is incredibly difficult to find a match. The fact that she was a match, I mean, that's unbelievable. That's not real.
So I just want to say that I hear stories like this, and it just makes me feel like there has to be a God. Like, I don't understand how people can't believe in a higher power, because I just don't think coincidences like this happen. I don't think that it was just a coincidence that her roommate, who was, first of all, so willing to go through this huge, scary surgery with her, lived with her and was a match. Like, that's not a coincidence. And I see this so often in my life. And I think so many people will chalk these kind of things up to being a coincidence, but there's just no way. There's no way that God didn't have a hand in this. There's just no way. I see so much evidence of miracles in my life and in the lives of others that I don't understand. I don't understand how anyone could not believe in a higher power, because miracles happen and they have to come from somewhere.
Francia immediately began the process of having her blood and urine tested. She completed a physical and psychological evaluation.
With our situation, because we were kind of an emergency situation, I did everything in like a day. And usually the process takes like 6 months. So it was really fast.
It becomes surgery day. Tell me about how you were feeling and what happened.
I wanted us to feel good.
Yeah.
So our friend came over and did cute little French braids for us.
And we couldn't eat after midnight, so we stuffed our faces.
I just want to say about the French braids, it's funny to me that she even mentioned that. Like, most people might be like, that's silly, why'd she even mention that? But as someone who lives chronically ill, I can see how those small little things could make a huge difference, right? Like, sometimes you just need a little something to make you feel better. Sometimes I just like to do my nails. They're not looking great today, so don't look. But sometimes I just need a little bit. I need a little bit of something extra to make me feel good. I personally like to put on makeup every single day, whether I'm in bed all day or I'm out doing something crazy. I'm never out doing something crazy, but even if I'm in bed all day, I like to put my makeup on because it feels good to me. It feels good to just do a little something that makes me happy, even if I'm going in to surgery, even if I'm going to be in bed all day. It's just nice to do something like that. So I think it's really cute that she mentioned that.
But I had to go in first. And when I woke up, I just was really calm.
Did you ever fear for your own health?
Yeah, I did. I had to write a will, which was scary because there's no guarantee you'll wake up.
And your family wasn't even sure when you told your mom. She was like, what are you doing?
My mom didn't want to be there until I woke up. She loves Selena, and so she was torn.
Selena went into surgery next.
I remember waking up 2 hours after, and I saw my mom, I saw my stepdad, and I felt okay. I felt really good. I got to see you and tell you I love you, and then I went back to my room, and I started to attempt to fall asleep. And in the middle of that process, I started hyperventilating, and there was so much pain there.
Doctors told Selena she'd have to go back into
Oh
surgery.
my gosh, I feel like you hear these stories, or you hear like the headline, and you just think like, oh, she got a kidney transplant, all is good. And you don't hear the in between. And I just think there's so much in between that we don't hear about in the world. You don't hear about the in between of so many people's lives. And those are the parts that are sometimes the hardest or the scariest. And we just hear maybe the beginning and the end. How did it end? What happened? Oh, she got a kidney transplant and she's healthy now and she's good. But what about the in between? What about the side effects of the kidney transplant? Like, we don't hear about that stuff, but the person going through it feels all of it. They go through the whole thing.
In the middle of that process, I started hyperventilating, and there was so much pain there.
Doctors told Selena she'd have to go back into surgery. Her new kidney was turning around inside her body.
My teeth were, I was like grinding, I was freaking out. It was a 6-hour surgery that they had to do on me.
Yeah, I think sometimes we just have to trust people that know more than us. And I'm so grateful we live in a world with so many knowledgeable, smart people. Everyone's just doing their best. Not everybody is going to be able to fix everything, and everything's not going to go perfectly. Everything's not going to turn out great, but we live in a world with so much knowledge, and I'm so grateful to be living now. I mean, years ago, there was not this much medical knowledge, and even more so, there wasn't the tools and technology that we have now. We have incredible, incredible knowledge. And that doesn't fix everything. But again, we have a lot of miracles that help the in-between.
What I wanted more than anything was that we were together, so I actually got a space for us to be in together. You know, you're on bed rest, you're allowed to walk an hour a day. You can't do any stairs or anything crazy.
It was hard because you constantly needed to ask for help.
Yeah.
I think one of the most humbling experiences was needing help to like put on underwear. We couldn't take showers by ourselves. I mean, it was a really brutal process.
So I love that she mentions that it was so many things that we just take for granted every day. And I think as someone who lives chronically ill, there's things that I'm like, oh man, if I could just do this thing and not feel this symptom, if I could just eat food and not have a stomach ache, man, people are just taking that for granted. And then I forget that, like, wait a second, I'm taking so many things for granted. I have eyes that work. I have to wear contacts. I am sensitive to light, and I can focus on all those things, or I can focus on, I can see. I have eyes that can see. I have ears that can hear. I maybe will need a wheelchair if I go to the store, but I have the means to do that. I have a wheelchair to take me there. I have feet that work. I get a little exhausted and dizzy and sick if I walk around too much, but can I focus on the things that I do have instead of all the things that we don't? Because there's so many things that we take for granted, and it's so hard not to focus on, like, well, they can walk around the grocery store and I can't. I can't believe they're just taking that for granted. Like, no, Aimee, you are taking so much for granted too. There's so much in your life and in your body and in your health that is working, that is good, that you don't need help with, that it can be difficult not to focus on though. So if you're living chronically ill, let's start a challenge together to focus this week on some things that we are taking for granted that are amazing about our lives, that we are so blessed to have. Like, even the other day, our internet went out, and I realized, oh my gosh, I use the internet for everything. I can't watch TV. I can't edit a YouTube video. I can't do all this stuff. What am I supposed to do? I can't even listen to music on my music player. Well, that's something I just take for granted. And then when it was back the next day, I was so happy, even though for months before that, it never crossed my mind that I even have internet. I just turned on my computer and it worked. So how many things are you taking for granted, even if you live chronically ill, even if you're going through extra challenges? How many amazing things do you have in your life? And I want to know in the comments below, do you have anyone in your life who is like Selena's friend, who you know would do anything for you, who would donate a kidney for you. Do you have anyone in your life like that? Let me know in the comments. And if you live chronically ill, make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos, so we can live the most amazing life while living chronically ill. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.